Hey guys, I thought of just making a video about just the state of the fandom and what's happening. This actually the second video from I think Billy, Mr. Wesley. I'm sorry if I got your name right. Your second video encouraged me to actually just record and just put my thoughts out there. It's just my 2 cents, how I see it, how everything is going around with the Snyder Cut movement. Uh, just from a perspective of a normal fan that has no stakes in anything. Uh, when I remember when I joined the fandom, it was because I started following Fiona, like Fiona and believe Dr. Chris. He, these two were the first ones who actually introduced me to the the movement. They showed me that there is an actual group of people who have the same interest and feel the same way as I do towards Zack Snyder's DCEU movies. And through them, I started, discovering other people in the movement. And then I went into YouTube and I found Ping Pong Flicks by Chris Swenson. I think that's, I'm sorry if I screwed up his name, and Dave Pena, and so on and so forth. And I started then, that was happening right after BVS, when the whole shitstorm was happening. So I started following the whole of like the major players of the movement. I started like following. So as as the campaigning was going, there's something I noticed, and it first started with when uh, when Fiona, I think, suggested, or she was, I believe she was just like engaging with the fan, with the movement and the people, and just, you know, brainstorming and just kind of like trying to, you know, to see what's going on, and or like what her ideas, uh, how people will feel about her ideas. So she suggested that maybe we should consider, you know, uh, making the movement a non-profit organization, or something like that. And then there's, it's crazy how people reacted to that. Like they were calling her insane, crazy. We need a new person from the, why? That was the first time I realized there's something really weird about what's happening. Like, why are they were so much like against her. It was strange, but you know, she prevailed, and she's one of the strongest people I've seen, and so it doesn't matter. But and then, like, as the campaigning, was going on, uh, when Dr. Chris started organizing the phone calls and the letters, uh, I think it was, when then Colbert just pops up out of nowhere and gave the snide comment, like, like, oh, what is that gonna do, like, you know, the 40 people calling in a month, that, well, how can, so it was kind of critiquing the whole phone call thing. And I saw that, I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. And I was waiting actually for other suggestions. What you since you don't feel like this is right, what do you suggest? And we did. I don't know. I don't remember seeing anything, any suggestion on how to, campaign. So, and further we go, uh, uh, as time goes by, I was noticing how there's one side of the movement versus the other. Well, not versus, but like this, slowly the split is happening. And and remember, have no stakes in with anyone or connection with anyone. All these people I met or I know is through Twitter and YouTube. And my only interest in this is for the Snyder Cut. So, and so my perspective is, you could say, like, it's just from top to bottom, like of what's happening. So then I noticed there's one side that keeps you know, putting down the other side. Like the whole thing about we should you know, police our own selves and police our movement or fandom or whatever. And at that time when I saw that coming, like, oh, we need to be more respectful or speak you know, respectfully to the people who, you know, who are anti-Snyder and in hopes that they see the light or whatever. So that's a noble idea. I could see it, you know, how that could work. I personally, I knew that it's not gonna work ever. But, you know, I see, I could understand their perspective. But I didn't. When you have someone with a huge platform coming in with, and verified and with, like, you know, thousands and thousands of followers, and comes up and says shit like, oh, look at this Snyder movie, and he's such a rape fetishist. Look at his fans; they're Nazis. And how do we respond to that? I actually asked that question, and one side was the side that, you know, we're talking about here was saying that, you know, just ignore, or, you know, I'm like, okay, ignore. But these people have thousands and thousands of followers, and they have huge influence. We can't ignore that. We can't ignore people that claim that we're Nazi Trump supporters for liking a Snyder movie. And it's not just it's not anonymous accounts or, like, just random Spider-Man avies who talk shit. No, it's film journalists, YouTubers that with huge subscribers. We have to say something. We can't stay quiet. And when I see these people talk, you know, come up with this, like, these kind of shit, like, oh, we. You know, the whole thing, like, oh, Zack Snyder is a misogynist or whatever. There's not a peep from that side. I haven't seen anyone from that side just, you know, defend or respond back. But they will always respond to the other Snyder fans who respond to the negative comments. I don't know, like, this is getting frustrating. Why aren't you, like, you have a platform like the others? You're a journalist like them, but you're so focused on pushing their narrative that the Snyder fans are psychos, the Snyder fans are misogynist, whatever, they're Nazis, they're right wing, and you know. So how at me as a normal random fan, how am I supposed to see this? If I see one side is constantly aiding and trying to please those people that, you know, they're not gonna support the Snyder Cut. They're not gonna support the movement ever. It's their brand to hate on Snyder. It's their brand to hate on the DCEU. It's their thing. It's their personality. It's their personality trait. They have to hate on, you know. it's crazy. It's crazy. And when I see one side constantly belittling the other achievement, this is where it really got to me. This is where I'm like, okay, this is it. I've had enough, to be honest. When I see, you know, people like Garza constantly just questioning the and belittling and everything that the Snyder movement does. The whole billboards. He made some negative comment about the billboards, the letter writing, the phone calls. Like, you have a platform. All I have, and many others in the movement, all we have is this like Twitter account, maybe some money. That's it. It's a shame that this is how you guys are acting. I don't know. Well, I'm not gonna get into the intentions or what do they really want or whatever. It's a shame that, like, instead of, say, you know, retweeting in like an old article you put up, talking about the existence of the new gods in the Justice League Snyder cut, just to show that we knew about the Desaad casting. It could have supported that. It could have said like, "Wow, this is an awesome scoop." But deep down, you couldn't. What was holding you back? Like, that's all I can think. Like, this is. I'm gonna stay campaigning, whatever. I'm with the Snyder Cut movement forever. And I'm behind this, and I really just want to see the Snyder Cut, and when it releases, I want to see it with everyone in the movement. That's it. Thank you.
Yo, freaking yo. Check this shit out. So we just did a Go Deep episode. It was kind of like a roundtable, but it was only 3 of us. So it was a triangle table, I guess. And it was me, featuring Kojay, featuring Will, the actor Rowlands, or Bill, like the tabloids call him, Bill. But yeah, we had a nice discussion. We started out just kind of compounding on Will's video he put out today, but then we kind of got into a little bit more deeper shit, as we always do. So get ready for a nice conversation between us 3. And before you do that, of course, you know you gotta listen to some music. Why? You already know, because it shakes the bitch assness off of you. Yeah, bitch!
It's so saucy.
Oi! Splash!
Chamberlain, he's got it.
Splash! Drill! Splash! Woo! Stuck to the code of the street. I be with players and G's. Ain't no snitches around me. I sent the bitch to work. She selling ass, no twerk. I Gucci collar my shirt. Then I splash off in the bird. They heard. Stuck to the code of the street. Players and G's. Ain't no snitches around me. I sent the bitch to work. She selling ass, no twerk. I Gucci collar my shirt. Then I splash off in the bird. They heard. I I got you calling my shirt. My diamonds come from the earth. No, I ain't selling no word. No, I ain't popping no purse. My bitches popping they skirt. I make a hoe out of nerves. She put that Glock in the purse. She in my skin, no fitty. Don't let that fat ass get you killed. I have them so fit, no fitty. She done marine on titties. I on some trainer shit. Ballet up in sex like the baddest bitch. And drop me around the city with them chopper sticks. Everybody claiming murder one, but in real life they never murder one. Only thing you niggas ever spray was water guns when you playing with you. This some shit that I done really done. Big case just fat as Big Pun. All my niggas shining like the sun, cause these backstreet boys some. Stuck to the code of the streets. I be with players and ain't no senses around me. I sent the bitch to work. She selling ass, no twerk. I got you calling my shirt. Then I splash off in the bird. They heard. Stuck to the code of the streets. I be with players and G's. Ain't no senses around me. I sent the bitch to work. She selling ass, no twerk. I got you calling my shirt. Then I splash off in the bird. They heard. Man, how you still broke as your dad? How you 30 in the jag? How you 19 with no stash? How you 23 with no pad? How could you beg for pussy in the strip club instead of chasing that cash? How would you hate when you see me double date with two bitches from France? Niggas is gay, only time you double date when it's you and your friends. I'ma just have to pull up with some double K's, gonna ruin your plans. My niggas scoot up in vans. You watch your vans. I ain't never had a reason for a heart. My mama would shoot out of cans. My niggas schooling chop vans. They gon' knock hands. Vans. I ain't never had a reason for a heart. My mama would shoot out of cans. My niggas scoot up in vans. They gon' knock you out your vans. I ain't never had a reason for a heart. My mama would shoot out of cans. Boy, your mama had you in church. After that, take that suit out your hand. While you was singing Wave in the water, I was in the kitchen trying to rock a quarter in a dope house, really taking orders. Then I got a bitch, then I got a partner. Stuck to the code of the streets. I be with players and G's. Ain't no senses around me. I sent the bitch to work. She selling ass, no twerk. I got you calling my shirt. Then I splash off in the bird. They heard. Stuck to the code of the streets. I be with players and G's. Ain't no senses around me. I sent the bitch to work. There's no twerk. Collar my shirt. Off in the bird. They heard. Drill.
Go Deep, episode 118. I got my homeboy Will, the actor from England, and I got Kojay, the other actor from LA. What's going on, guys?
It's going good. I act like I know what I'm doing.
So we were talking about earlier. You saw Will's video today, right?
No, not yet. I was in the office all day.
Oh, all right.
It's
All
been
right.
busy.
Well, I mean, you pretty much know. We talk about it all the time in our other rooms. But
Kojay, can I just say I'm a bit offended?
What?
I'm a little bit offended at that. I mean, you could have said to your patients, "Do you mind waiting? I've got a really important video to watch."
Oh, I should have showed it to them. You know, they'd be like, "Oh, yo, they'd be like flying out of the window,
at the same time.
flying in the air like airplane." Healed.
I'm only joking.
It was a good video, but it was mainly he spoke about the 40 Club. He spoke about their continuous patterns, but mainly last night we had a little issue. Well, everybody knew that. Well, we kind of felt that the Snyder Cut might get announced, but for the most part, it was like just a business announcement between HBO Max, Warner Brothers, and AT&T. So that Snyder Cut announcement might have just overshadowed everything, right? But then you have, some of the 40 Club getting mad at the Jason Momoa video, and they're putting that out, saying we shouldn't even...
They did? I was off radar yesterday.
Oh, right.
So I have to get the news from you guys right now, then I'll reply.
Right, so then... Also, Screen Rant put out some 2-year-old news that we all knew about, the Junkie XL stuff. And
that's the only thing I knew about yesterday. All right, go on. Sorry.
All right. So basically, it was a off-timed article, but the timing was basically just to get more clicks because everybody knew that everybody was online looking for the Snyder Cut, Snyder. But it's also to get clicks after a long time of saying they're done with the Snyder Cut. They don't want anything else to do with the Snyder Cut, blah, blah, blah. So Will did a great video basically about the whole situation going on from, start to finish. It was like, about a 46-minute video, huh, Will?
Yeah, sorry.
Well, the other ones are epic like that too, right?
Right.
Yeah, I always say it's going to be a quick video, and I don't know why I even say that. I'm basically lying, aren't I? Because my intention is to do a 3-minute quick hello and leave, but then I start talking and
you go deep.
Out. I go deep, but I can't call it go deep.
He gave me a little plug too. He mentioned Go Deep podcast.
Yeah.
So, Will, tell us about it. That was a quick little intro to catch Kojay up. Tell us about it, and then we'll have Kojay, kind of give some of his input also.
Yeah, no worries. So, after, obviously, last night, the whole HBO Max, it was on for about 2 hours, wasn't it, that their, event?
Right.
I checked in at parts, yeah.
Yeah, well, I noticed that an hour in, so exactly halfway through, and when the hashtag #ReleaseTheSnydercut was trending again, the Stephen Colbert used his screen rank position to put out an article right at that moment in time. But it wasn't just any article. He titled it Exclusive.
Right.
So it was an attention grabber in the moment where everyone was online, everyone was interested in the Snyder Cut. Like for example, they had the inside track on something. Like they always claim, and this time it was exclusive.
Right.
Tom Holkenborg, Junkie XL, confirms he did his soundtrack for Justice League movie, and everybody quickly jumped onto that and said, "Yeah, he tweeted that 2 years ago."
But they did get to interview him.
It doesn't matter. He's still the whole plug.
Yeah, it's not news.
Yeah, it's old news. They just re-asked him the question, and he's going to give the same answer, isn't he? So the point being, for the past 2 years, whenever anyone's brought anything up, if it's not their narrative, it's not something they are releasing, it's all no, it's wrong. And Dr. Chris Fernaldo, he was like he tweeted it. He was very quick onto it, and he was like retweeted the tweet from Tom Holkenborg with the date. I think it was the 25th of the 3rd, 2017. He said that he literally wrote, "My soundtrack is complete. It's all come together. You'll hear some of it on the trailers." It basically announced that he's done his soundtrack. So, but they've always said no, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he never started it. No, he never did anything, and all that, didn't they? And as usual with the whole putting a negative on things.
Right.
So they used the event last night to attention grab because there's so much more evidence now. and there's so much more attention, and the tide has turned. They are now trying to jump on the bandwagon and come at it from making sure that their past history benefit is not proven to be wrong, if you know what I mean. They're kind of rewriting a bit of their history, of their narrative, so that it fits in nicely now. Right. Just like the Wikipedia deleting.
Right. Right.
That pissed me off. I've got to be honest with you. Yeah, that's basically why I did the video, and I just thought, add that to John Aaron Garza's abusive podcast aimed at me and Pilly and other people, and Dave Peters' swear-a-thon at me on his podcast about how much he doesn't care about what I've got to say, but he hates me.
He's missing out.
Yeah, it's just all of that, and I just talked about the whole thing, and I wanted to give last night's issue some context, right. So it didn't just seem some random thing, and people say, "Well, it's just a coincidence," blah blah blah.
Right. No.
You have the backstory to anyone who's not aware of what's been going on the past few years, or they see the few arguments here and there. Like, there are some people that have followed me throughout the year and said, "Oh, I followed both of you. I kind of saw you had a falling out, but I didn't really get into it. Right. I don't really want to know," and that's fine. But I think a lot of people didn't really understand what was going on. It was either taken in a really bad way, like we were just arguing, or people chose sides and went one way or the other, you know?
Right.
But I just thought, I'm putting it out there. I'm sick to death of it. It needs to be said. Yes, it's on Vero. Yes, Zach might see or hear it. But I really do believe that he deserves the right to know who is being very, very nice and angelic to him, but behind his back on Twitter is an absolute git and only benefit themselves. So if he hears it, so be it. But also for anyone to hear it, then people need to know. But I also put on there that everything I've said, you can research yourself and look into the past tweets, YouTube channels, YouTube videos, everything, and find everything I've said.
Correct.
Nothing I've said cannot be found.
Correct.
Rather than just a baseless accusation, you know?
Correct. What you think, Kojay? Because I have some questions too, but I'm gonna let you say something real quick.
I have nothing to add to it. Well, maybe. Well, I could just. Yeah, I agree with everything. I mean, my frustration with certain characters of that group is their continued dedication to controlling a forced narrative, and they won't drop it because either they need it, whatever reasons they want. They desperately want to be the ones to control the Snyder Cut narrative in their way, in their definition, against Zach, against the fans. They've even insulted the fans. They've even attacked the fans socially, whatever, and, on Twitter. And just dedicated to just trying to control, I want to even say a greedy narrative, because what do they have to gain? Clicks, popularity, right. Followers. Are they trying to force it so that, are they fighting like they're the ones to break the news or something? I don't know their goal, but it's not nice, it's not kind, it's malicious. And it's like, just trying to control the narrative to their definition, forcefully, aggressively, passive aggressively. It's just the definition of propaganda, and nothing screams more like neo-Nazis than the 40 Clover.
Wow. All right.
No, I'm disgusted.
I am too. I'm right there with y'all, and y'all know me. I was real vocal about it at first, and a lot of times it goes back to maybe 2 years ago when Zach was kind of talking about going to San Diego Comic-Con, right? And then and the only one, like, all of us, we were so happy about it, like, oh my God, we're waiting to see it, blah, blah, blah. And Dave the Film Junkie kept saying, no, he's not going. My source said he's not going. My source said the Snyder Cut's not coming out, blah, blah, blah. But we didn't really know why Dave was saying that, but we were just like, all right, well, benefit of the doubt. Chris Wong saying yes, Dave saying no. So let's see what happens. So then when it didn't happen, it was like, all right, well, Dave got it right. But then he kept compounding on, oh, I got it right. I told you. My source said there's no Snyder cut. You guys this, you guys that, blah, blah, blah. I'm just the realest in the world. And so then it started getting like ridiculous, And then everything turned into my source this, my source that, Everything Zach was doing. Every time Zach put out a picture, he was like, oh, my source said, well, it's not coming. You guys are getting excited for no reason. My source said, Zach's not finished the movie. You guys are getting excited for no reason. So I just finally had enough. And I was like, dude, just shut the fuck up. I mean, I don't know who's your source or what your source is saying this, but just stop, because like Will said today, we want hope. We like to have hope. Hope is not a bad thing to have. We hope the movie comes out. We don't want somebody to come in and constantly shit on us, constantly rain on the parade. But then at the same time, he's making money from this shit. He's selling Snyder cut shirts. Every time he talks, it's Snyder this, Snyder that, Snyder this, release the Snyder cut. But if you're shitting on it, stop getting the benefits of these views and this money from the shirts and all this other shit. Just shit on it and be like John Campea or one of those guys who like Marvel. Just go over there. But once he was inside our crew, it kind of felt like we had like an agent inside the crew. And then when they got together with Garza and Colbert, it only became worse, and now these guys are deleting the fucking Wikipedia and all this other shit like that. It only brings more clarity to the shit that I was saying for a long time. These guys were never really a part of us. They were always there to negate us. Maybe Garza was for a little while, but he kind of got mad because Zach didn't give him the connection. So after Zach didn't give him that connection, he started talking shit about Zach. And then these guys who just wanted to see anarchy, they started following Garza because of him saying, oh, well, I must have pissed Zach off, or I must have blah, 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 So now these guys are just building and building and building. But, I mean, it's about time somebody said it. What I want to talk to y'all about is the Wikipedia, because I didn't really know. Once that shit started happening, I was switching job titles and blah, blah, blah. So I really didn't know about that. Can one of y'all compound and tell the audience what happened with that Wikipedia shit?
Yeah, I'll say what I know. I mean, Basker Jar?
Yeah.
Oscar.
Yeah, Basker. Sometimes goes as Doom. See the poor guy. I mean, that guy. He's a very young man. He's been very ill, but he's very clever, very intelligent, and he's one of the people. And I'm sure he won't mind me saying. During San Diego, the build up to it, and was really, really, really upset that he wasn't able to afford to donate anything.
Right.
Oh, you guys okay?
Yeah, I think that's Kojay. Sound like he's get some tissue or something.
Oh, I thought he's been robbed.
I'm still in the office. I'm leaving. I'm just trying to not distract you guys. Sorry. Forget you guys. Whatever. Keep talking.
He's wiping up the desk after the lotion party.
Yeah. He's clearing up his murder room.
Shh, don't give it away.
Oh shit, we're online. So,
All right.
it's cool. Anyway, so old Basker, bless him. He's had his issues, hasn't he? And he's not, I think he's had illnesses, mental health problems. And he contacted me, and he was really upset that he desperately wanted to donate some money to the campaign, and he literally couldn't afford it. But I said to him, like, he does so much work online of like spreading the word and retweeting and hashtagging and getting involved, that's as valuable as his money. So he's had a hard time, and he's always there. He's always backing everybody up. He's always doing the hype.
Right.
And he's been attacked so many times by the 40 Club, Garza, Colbert, Dave Pina, and all of their groupies who like to, their fake account people who are just avatars. And he's had his accounts suspended and blocked multiple times. I've even had his dad contact me and, just basically worried that I'm going to believe some bad things being said about him and that we would not want to communicate, because apparently being part of this community that we've all kind of found ourselves in, it's helped him mentally and as a person and move on and get on with his life and have some hope.
Right.
And I think that's really nice. This guy in India, I think it's India he's from, he's being part of the community online with everyone around the world.
Yeah, I think he's Indian.
Yeah, his dad was concerned that he would be completely blocked out by everybody and whatever, but obviously we wouldn't do that. And if you recall, Bhaskar, he's very open about his mental health.
Right.
I think he had it in his profile. And John Aaron Garza, if you recall, when a few months back, Bhaskar, I think he said something about why were you? Because he basically, it was around the time when John said that Zack Snyder's the enemy to the fans.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that wonderful tweet he put out, which I have got a screenshot of, so don't worry.
I have a scar of that.
Oh, you do? Yeah, me too. That was the final straw, by the way, for me and him. Right. Anyway, and Bhaskar, he had challenged that kind of tweet, and John replied, and he said something along the lines of, and I've got a copy of it as well, that I'm not going to speak to someone like, was it something with your mental health problems? You don't know what you're talking about, something like that. And it was very demeaning, demoralising, and basically hateful towards someone who's open about his mental health. And that showed the evil, vile nature of these people.
Right.
How
Very true. I even unblocked him just out of curiosity. Bygones be bygones. And the first thing I see was that, and I was like, oh, blocking him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
How can you do that to someone?
Right.
From talking to Bhaskar, because he always DM'd me, and he was really upset by that. Right. He really was. But anyway, so leading on to that, Bhaskar is one of the people who wrote up, and he spent an awful lot of his spare time writing up a summary of the Release the Snyder Cut movement, and was one of the people who created the page on Wikipedia as like a tree branch off of the Justice League movie page, and just was updating it with Zack's posts, events that had occurred, people that had done stuff, you, me, Kojay, Mick D, and just naming people, and basically all factual information, which I thought was what Wikipedia is supposed to be.
Right.
A factual record of things that are occurring in the world,
Right.
Like an encyclopedia. That's where the name comes from, isn't it? And just things like, when Revelations came out, where, Zack would post about Darkseid being in the movie and it being 3.5 hours long, and then Ray Porter confirmed as playing Darkseid. We put all that stuff in, it's a great thing. But the trouble is that Wikipedia page went completely against the narrative that they want to spin, that there isn't a cut, it doesn't exist.
Right.
Nothing's confirmed, etc., etc. And Stephen Colbert was one of the main people who went through that and deleted chunks and chunks and chunks away, but added that fans have been known to be toxic, right, and things like that. But the stupid thing is, because they're not as clever as they think, when you click on the citations and you click on the edit marks, it tells you who done it and when.
Right.
And most of the ones I've got screenshots of say Stephen M. Colbert.
Right, right.
So why? And that just shows you they're rewriting the history.
Right.
Right. But now when they swoop in with their exclusives, it appears that they have just found it out.
They have just... Right. Correct. It does. But
you see?
Tell me this.
And why?
Why do you think they do that? Why do you think... What's their point of deleting? Or do you think they just want to change the narrative to this? Basically, they're the leaders of the movement, and
no, they're not interested in being leaders of the movement. Like, I don't think. I mean, you and I aren't interested. No one. There is no leader.
Right.
And that's because we're all equal.
Right.
But their sole intention is they're making careers out of the film industry. Out of YouTube and blogging and all that.
Right.
And this Snyder Cut issue is such a big thing, and it's a very big thing in cinematic history, I think.
Right.
In terms of studio interference, artistic integrity, corruption, and all the stuff, especially this era with the Me Too thing and how people behave. They're really, really getting onto the bandwagon, and this is a big thing to be part of.
Right.
And where Stephen Colbert considers himself a journalist, I think. I don't think any of them have actually been to any kind of college and qualified as journalists of sorts. I mean, am I a journalist because I wrote something? I don't think, But anyway, but he is the more intelligent one.
Right.
To be fair.
Right.
Even though he leaves little breadcrumbs. And I think that Dave Pina, he's created his YouTube channel and he's got his 31,000 followers that he literally called out. I didn't mention that in my video, I forgot. He literally said something about, I've got the big platform.
Right.
I'm the one who should be the one who can campaign for everybody and get the word out. If I used my platform,
right.
We would bigger outreach, bigger following and all this stuff. And then, so with my big platform, I'm telling everyone they shouldn't donate and they shouldn't support.
Right.
And you're telling 31,000 people not to support a movement that fights for integrity and raises money for suicide awareness.
Right.
That is
hypocrisy.
The hypocrisy, right.
Yeah. Meanwhile, on the page, he's got a link to his Teespring, selling all of his shirts with Release the Snyder Cut, picture of Zack Snyder, cartoon face with Come Together,
right?
All that, all the money goes to him,
right? Definitely.
And he's got his Patreon account where all his followers, so he can make his videos,
right?
And all that. I always think to myself, why do you need a Patreon account? If you've got a computer, he's obviously got the technology already. It's free. Other than paying for your broadband, your internet bill, what do you need donations for?
Right.
Unless, of course, you're trying to make it your income, as in your living wage.
Right.
Well, your cam girl sites, when you're addicted to that, they cost a lot of money. Could be that. I don't know.
What's that?
What sites?
Oh, those crazy sites where you pay for on the screen.
No, Kojay, we don't know what you're talking about, mate.
Explain, Kojay.
Yeah, come on, explain to the audience. None of us know.
The rest of the information I gotta get from my ex-girlfriend then.
Kojay's a pimp, isn't he? Just come out.
He has a lot of girls. He has a lot of fucking girls, so.
Huh?
I'd see sometimes,
Hey, yo, I was a dance major. I know a lot of girls. That's like, yeah.
Don't worry, KJ.
Stop talking about me. Let's go back on topic.
Don't worry, that little snippet of your life will stay between the three of us, okay?
Wait, which one?
God knows. Let's change the subject again. But I like the fact you know loads of girls. That's quite handy to know, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
What was we saying?
So we were.
You use the Patreon and all that.
Right.
Stuff.
Yeah. So they basically their intentions, going back to your question, is to create themselves it's almost like a brand, some kind of this hobby to become a job where they can leave their mundane 9 to 5 jobs that they've got, that most people have.
Right.
So they got no intention. It's quite clearly a brand. And as I said in my video, when I tweeted a while back, all the arguments happening online and people were falling out with each other left, right and centre. And I said, if you don't want to hear negativity, why don't, as an idea, we all block each other?
Right.
And if you don't want negativity from the 40 Club, block Dave, block Stephen, block John. And they took that great offence, if you recall. And Dave inboxed me straight away. And he didn't say why are you lying? He didn't say that's not true. Didn't want to talk about it. He literally opened the message with, I can't believe you just put my name out there.
Right.
Dude, it's my brand, something like that. And I just thought to myself, that's all you care about.
Right.
Is your brand.
Right. Exactly.
And that's the same with John Garza. You know, he's a car salesman in Texas. Which, you know, don't get me wrong, it's a job.
Right.
Everyone has a job. It sounds like we're being the piss. But the only reason people only bring that up is that they're known for being a bit dodgy.
Right.
Car salesmen, aren't they? Wheeler dealers.
Right.
But also, he's got no clear connection or link to the industry in any way, yet claims to have such inside knowledge. So he obviously has aspirations to be his own blogger, journalist type person, which is fine. But he's forcefully doing it, you know?
Yep.
And Stephen Colbert's a Screen Man, so and they're trying to be the big thing, aren't they? The big, you know, the big site. So their goal is not to. The release of the Snyder Cut would end the debate. It would end any conversation. It would end the clicks and the buzz. So there's not much else going on in the world, is there, in terms of cinema? Everything's very short-lived, isn't it?
Everything's pretty flat, really. No one's really.
Yeah. Even you look at the
Even trailblazer films are coming out in the pop culture.
Yeah, but you look at the Avengers. No one talks about Endgame anymore.
Right.
That was apparently the biggest film, you know, blah blah blah.
Right.
Because it dies.
The brilliance of MCU, I think they pieced it very well, because I think the hype of Avengers was so amazing at the time. You know, multiple films leading up to one film, blah, 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 which is like any saga, really. I mean, Anne Rice's films, like Interview with a Vampire, that was like cross films, but not as much or popular. But I just think that the hype was very temporary, and I think all these films were.
Hey, what happened to your voice? Hey. Something happened to your voice.
He's put his gimp mask on, isn't he?
Guys, it's a luchador mask.
Sounds like C-3PO.
You sound like Johnny Five, man.
I feel alive.
No,
All right, you're back.
we got
I forgot what
in Kojay. This is not fair. Sorry, Kojay. Carry on, mate.
What was I carrying on with? I forgot now.
We can hear you.
About Marvel, about their movie.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Marvel was. I feel like the excitement of the Avengers was in that first movie, and I feel like, you know how things die quickly. I think they kept the hype of that first movie stretched out and purposely put, like, you know, as far as fetch that they could to build up to that climactic battle. But at the same time, it's like, I feel each Avenger movie was not as unique or groundbreaking as the first Avenger movie.
Absolutely.
And I think it just kind of dwindled out along the way. And of course, even with MCU films, the first ones are a different tone from the last one. So I think it's a combination of a change in power, ownership, and all that. But I don't think it was ever something that was going to last. But I'm not a MCU fan, so that's just from the outside looking in.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So with that, is what I was saying is that even though they have the hype, it's temporary.
Right.
Yes.
So there's not a much they in terms of the blogosphere, you know, the people like Dave and John and all that, they will have lulls where they won't have much to talk about.
Right.
So dragging out the Snyder Cut, causing controversy with it, and continuously having something to complain about and attack people for, fills the gaps.
Right. Correct.
Mm.
Correct. So let me ask you this. Do you think, because they do have a huge footprint in our movement, I think Garza has, 15,000 subscribers? I don't know. Homeboy Dave has like 31. I know Screen Rant's pretty big. Think about this. If they were never in our movement, do you think we would have gotten further?
No.
No, I think we'd be exactly where we are. I wouldn't change.
Yeah.
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 Because you have to understand, people who follow people aren't always checking in on things. You know, some people even forgot they followed certain people too. So how active are followers? You know, and some people just like to look at shit. You know, and that's cool with that. But I'm judging it based off of when, quote, quote, they were on the side of Zack Snyder, and then when they weren't on the side of Zack Snyder, I didn't see any change. So,
All right. So what?
if they were going to make an impact, they would have done it already. Like if they want to do great things and charitable things, they would have done it already, or they would be in the trenches with us.
Right. So
as we're doing it too.
What was their impact?
No, I don't think there any impact.
They had zero impact. What? Because here's what I say. Like, you know, let's say Will and Kojay got a movie coming out. Whatever. Will says something like, "Hey, you know, this movie's coming out December 1st. Everybody get ready." So, you know, we all get prepared and we all get hyped for December 1st. And then Kojay comes out and says, "Oh, no, I heard somewhere it's not coming out December 1st. So that kills the hype, you know? So now we're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, they could probably kill it. But I don't think they help it. I'm sorry. I misunderstood the question.
Right. So I'm pretty sure they killed the hype a lot of times. So if we... let's say not just spiritually or our mood or anything, like let's just say we were always hype. We might have made a bigger impact on the media. We might have made a bigger impact on the internet if we all had the hypeness that we start with. But then when those guys come in and they kind of ran on the parade, that kind of puts the brakes on some of our, you know, enthusiasm. That kind of puts the brakes on. So I'm thinking, what if these guys were never there? We would have been going like 100 miles an hour instead of going 50 miles an hour, you know?
Perhaps there would have been less animosity with bloggers. You know, for example, that guy today on Twitter is the guy on the lollipop jumper who interviewed Jesse Eisenberg, and he basically said that people like us are not normal people. Do you remember? Did you see that?
No, what's his name?
Oh, I don't know. He's forget it now. Cam something. I think I don't know. Might be completely wrong. But he basically interviewed Jesse Eisenberg yesterday or today about his new film, and he asked him about the Snyder Cut. Does he know about the Snyder Cut and about the cultists and the conspiracy theorists and things like that? And Jesse Eisenberg wasn't quite sure what he was talking about, and he just said, it's got so much talk that normal people like him are talking about it now, and it basically called everyone. It's crazy.
Oh, wow. See, they think they're normal, but they're just out of touch with reality. And I'm not.
Yeah. So I think going to your question is that if the 40 Club people were never involved and they weren't able to spin the toxic narrative or the negative narrative, perhaps there would be less mainstream media type people who would consider everybody crazy or cultist.
Right.
So perhaps, I don't know, I don't think we would have got much further, but I think reputation-wise would have been a bit cleaner.
Right. I kind of agree. I mean, I think a lot of times, you know, to implement just a small argument can set us back a few days, you know? So yeah. I think we have been set back a number of times, but we didn't know that it was going on. So it just looked like par for the course. It just looked like a normal day at work. But actually, if we wasn't set back so many times with these little stupid arguments, I personally think we would have been a lot further than where we are today.
Yeah. I mean, during San Diego, they made like a joke and fueled the negative chat about where the location of the bus stop. Now, the location of the bus stop was chosen for two reasons. The first reason was the ones that are literally outside the convention center had already been bought by the massive companies, you know, the sponsors companies, the ones who pay millions and hundreds of thousands for the post, you know.
Right.
So ones we could never compete with.
Right.
But the closest one to the venue, which is where people would get off and walk to the convention center, was the one we chose. But it also, the second reason was that it was outside the Hall of Justice.
Right.
For in San Diego. So it was kind of like, fitting, as it were,
Definitely.
and it's still got media attention. It's still got into the papers, still was talked about on the radio, still was referred to in articles. But they, rather than say, wow, what a great bit of advertising, because, we rivaled main sponsor companies, didn't we, in a way, by having such a thing.
Right.
But they made it a joke.
Right.
And they warned people who don't like Snyder Cut, who aren't interested in the Snyder Cut, they created the butt of a joke. Like, look at the Snyder Cut people, they don't even get a bus stop near, that kind of thing.
Right.
True. It was very close. It's why do you do that? And they did that during the con, and why I mentioned it in the video today, that John wrote another article and during the con, and he then claimed that his article drew attention, and it's the only reason any media noticed the billboard or the bus stop, when we'd already been in behind the scenes contact building up to it, because the campaign got such attention, the fact that we was raising so much money. Media sites were contacting us and journalists saying, like, you've raised this money, what are you buying with it? What are you doing with it?
Right.
And they were anticipating seeing it. So they had already started to write their articles about it, building up to it, possibly to find out to see if we actually followed through.
Right.
And two, to actually say, my God, look, they did it. And that's what they were doing. So it had nothing to do with his article whatsoever. His article was one of many. And when you line it up against the Wall Street Journal, Hollywood Reporter, LA Times, and all of those people, no one reads his article.
Right. Correct.
It's like the in English football, you've got the Premier League and you've got a local pub team. No one's going to read their team sheet if the Premier League team's sheet's out the same day.
Right.
It's not, and it's like, but the fact he said, the only reason, because these things don't get attention, people like Bashir, Basco, and all the people, loads of people gave $5, $10, $15. Right. And that's a lot of money. That's shopping on someone's table. That's food. Or lunch. They went without that day.
Yeah, I ate top ramen for a week.
So, what did he say?
He said he ate ramen noodles for a week.
Yeah.
Hey, it's cheap, just get some leftover chicken from toss it in, throw some vegetables, you're good.
Bit of roadkill, be fine. But do you know what I mean? People did that, and they didn't have to, and they trusted us. And then you got idiots like that who are only interested in talking points and clicks.
Right.
Then building up a base for their career, whilst putting other people down and saying what they did wasn't good enough. And it's that's despicable.
Right. I agree. So tell me this. They don't seem that smart, because if they wanted to get like media attention, they should be friends with you. It's like the media always contacts Will. Everyone wants to talk to Will. Every time somebody writes an article, they come after you first. So it's like, shouldn't they want to give you props for the stuff you're doing? Shouldn't they want to give you props for the money you're raising? Every time you do something, you follow through with it until it happens. And then the media comes out and they're like, hey, we got a interview from Bill Rowlands. They call you Bill all the time, but
I know. I explain. So my name's William, but it's my official name. Beautiful British name, as they say. Name of kings. I'm not a king. But basically, William, it can be shortened to multiple names like Will, Bill, Billy.
We know.
Or Liam. So some people call me Bill, some people call me Will. So I've, throughout my life, just referred to myself as any of them because it's just easier.
Right.
Either way, you're ill as fuck.
Thanks, man. Just call me Ill. Fuck it. Ill. So anyway, but on my email address, the first half of it is a B and then part of my surname. So when it comes through an email, it appears that I'm calling myself Bill. But I've had that email for about 20 years and I'm not changing it. It's mine.
All right.
You know, so anyway, so that's why I keep getting it wrong, and I have to like contact them going, it's Will. You know, that's the one I prefer. Yeah, that happens. But no, people, I wouldn't go, like, I don't know if people, they come to me first.
Seems like it.
Yeah, it does seem like it. Because, you know, I spoke to so many people about it. But I think the reason is because I've done the GoFundMe pages.
Right.
I do a lot of PR for it, you know, and things like that. So that's possibly why. But I know they do go to other people as well. And what's the most recent one? The Business Insider wanted to do a second one, didn't they, recently? They put the feelers out to a few of us, and I think me. Oh, I don't remember now. Maybe the Nerd Queens got involved as well, but I replied to some questions on an email. So I think they come to us, but I think they only come to us because we're the ones that have been organising and publicising it, you know. So I don't know. I don't like to think that I'm the go-to.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is, imagine if we're all like, you be the Speaker of the House, right? It's fuck it. That's just who you are, and it happens. Everyone wants to talk to you, but imagine if we were all cool. You know, we were all big. You know, it seems like sometimes. I think the problem is they want to be the speakers to, you know, Yahoo or Washington Post or whoever. It seems like they want to talk about it. So if they're not the ones being the Speaker of the House, everybody else can fuck off. That's what it seems like to me. Or it seems like they just want to destroy this shit from the inside, you know? It's no support. It's no, hey, good job, Will. That was a great interview. You know, hey, thanks a lot, Kojay, for, you know, coming and doing kicks on camera at San Diego Comic-Con. Or anything. Nobody get a pat on the back. It's always, oh, you guys are not doing good enough. Oh, Ramesh, that banner, Ramesh, that was just stupid. Why did you do that? But then they go on Vero and they like, oh man, I've been watching Batman vs Superman all day. I love Zack Snyder. But then on Twitter they're like, oh, you guys ain't shit. Why did you do that? Blah 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 blah. You know. But if they were smart, they would just be like, congratulations to everybody. We'll get bigger like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know.
They're trying to be smart because I think they're also trying to appeal to the people who hate DCEU, who hate Zack Snyder, who hate DC, you know, all the movies that we love. I think they're trying to be cowards and have a vague standpoint so they could please everybody, so they could get all those clicks.
That's some sellout shit, man.
It is, and that's why they're not smart. Selfish people are never going to be smart. They could be clever. They could cheat. They could, and we've already experienced that firsthand. But if they're really smart, really cool, and if they were morally correct and kind, we would all be chill and just trying to celebrate this.
Right.
But I don't mean to segue out, but I have a feeling that I just had a thought.
All right, let's hear it.
Like, after this conversation, because we're all saying, like, you know, they kind of slowed us down, right? Like, not going 100 miles per hour, we went 50 miles per hour, right?
Right.
And this unknown source. What if, I'm just throwing this out there, tinfoil, whatever hat, use of force, midichlorians, I don't know. But what if their inside source is Toby? And he gave him rules to say, hey, keep these guys looking crazy, stir the pot, get them distracted, decrease the numbers, and you know, make sure Snyder Cut isn't as popular as it will be or should be or ever be, and then get everybody divided and, you know, water it down, encourage people to stop using the hashtag, say it's not useless, tell all the business kids to say it doesn't exist, it's never coming out, because some of those people are still around for some reason, and then keep us divided, keep it down, and guess what? Toby gets an extension on his contract.
Yeah.
I think that is the truth, but I always thought it was Jeff Johns. I always thought, like, Zack Snyder
Yeah, but Jeff Johns has no friends. That's Jeff Johns.
Yeah, I just felt like Zach.
Yeah.
I felt like Zach was mobilizing us through Vero, and Jeff Johns was mobilizing the 40 through Twitter. And
Yeah, but Jeff Johns is also a geek and a fellow nerd, so my gut would lean more towards Toby because he's a business person. Because I look at all the people who really ridicule others and put them down, who saying the cut doesn't exist, fine, whatever, you guys suck, and then the cyberbullying, blah blah. I go and see a lot of them. A lot of them are like either middle-aged, angry men, or like these business tycoons, or young business wannabe tycoons, or something like that. It's just I'm getting a weird corporate executive wannabe vibe from those who are against us.
I could feel that.
Do you know?
Go ahead, Will.
You just made me think of something. You just listening to what you were saying, KJ. There, I had like a flashback memory of the first BVS trailer, and going to the, you know how Zach likes to spur us on from Vero, and he likes to drop hints and Easter eggs and everything, and there's a reason for everything he does.
Right.
Now, he knew even in BVS what was happening. So, you know, behind the scenes, with the whole Jeff Johns thing, he'd say even a nerd and a geek and things like that. Well, if you remember, in the first trailer, there was the statue, the Force of God statue, and there was a lot of narratives. The camera was slowly going towards it, and there was a lot of voiceover of like different people talking and things being said. Do you remember this trailer?
I actually love that trailer. I watched it.
Yeah, it's awesome, wasn't it? And in the background, it's go home, but getting louder and louder.
The teaser. That was the teaser.
Oh, it's a great teaser, wasn't it? That's it. But if you remember, one of the main things that was said, and it was never said in the movie, was power corrupts.
Right.
Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Absolutely. Right.
And what if he put that in the teaser trailer, because that was a message of what's been going on of people like Jeff Johns, where, yeah, he's initially a comic book geek, but he's been given a position of power, and it's corrupted him, and he's got a bit over his head and thrown his weight around.
Could be.
Could be. Just check it out. BVS, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, please, that Jeff Johns became an executive producer towards the end, or not from the beginning, midway through, something like that. And maybe he took that line out.
Yeah.
Because he's like, dang, that's my fortune cookie. No one should know that.
Right.
Yeah. It just seems a bit like exactly that in the trailer, because at the time he was fighting them.
Right. Right.
Just popped
if you're at SnyderCon, you heard how many times he had to try and negotiate with Warner Brothers to take the artistic approach and not sell out. And the only way he got his way was to convince them technically it would work.
Yeah.
Right. Damn. So now you think those same guys like Toby Emmerich and whoever, Jeff Johns or whoever, do you believe that they're still at work to keep their jobs or what? Do you think?
I think with Toby Emmerich, like someone just put this thing DM me the articles. Like, did you know?
Hold on, Will. Yo, Kojay.
Yo.
Mute your mic for a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I knew this that. I'm sorry, I'm driving.
It's all right. I can hear the wind. All right. Go ahead again, Will.
Right. So obviously with Toby having his contract extended, which you'd think, what the hell, you know? But maybe he's got something on people. Maybe he knows a bit too much. And you know, ultimately, if Jeff Johns was the one that was fucking up, and it ultimately falls on the heads of the leaders, doesn't it?
Right.
You know, the buck stops at the top. Right. So, you know, they're all run by him.
Right.
So maybe he's clinging on, and maybe he's blamed those who are no longer around to clear himself of any previous issues. You know, and whatever, but I don't know. It just seems, I don't think, with Jeff Johns out of the picture, Toby Emmerich's still there, he must have, it's like politics, I suppose, when you're executives. You know, they've all got favours, and they've all got they've all got things they can use if needed, you know?
Right.
Or they're protecting shit. Look at Bryan Singer with all his sexual allegations to little kids, right?
Yeah.
And then he's protected by the studio. Oh, he's out. Whatever. He's always unavailable and never gets an answer to his calls. What if I'm thinking maybe Toby's up to some foul nonsense and he's going through extreme measures to not get caught. And he could be using those same techniques to not get caught with whatever foul measures he's doing in order to maintain his position. He's like, oh, let me get these gigs because they're threatening my job position. And my job position, if I lose that threatens whatever dodgy crap I'm doing, you know? That's what he's thinking. That's what I'm thinking, because this stuff, Release the Snyder Cut, is so harmless. Why the hell are people so, Okay, I'm done.
No. Stay right there, because... So do you think Zach was shedding some light on some slimy shit they were doing?
Hold up, what?
So do you think Zack Snyder was shedding any light on some behind-the-scenes bad dealing that they were doing?
I think he was. I think he was using that in his films, because if you look at BVS, there's a lot of manipulation going on to take two people to pit each other against each other based off of each other's prejudice and ignorance of each other, and they were trying to profit off of it. That's Lex Luthor is pretty much, all the Toby Emmerichs, the 40 Club, all that stuff, and the neo-Nazi type of manipulating the system and people just to get what they want and need.
Right. Wow.
And even when you think about the fact that how Lex manipulated the senator, to get the shipping license. Remember, and he shoved the sweet in his mouth.
Right.
That could be an executive being manipulated.
And what's cool about that scene, Lex did not know that she found out his plot, but he had already planned to take her out and frame Superman regardless, because he was like, all right, she's not going to get what I want. I'm going to kill her and get what I want at the same process, because the whole duality of BVS was, for him, was getting two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm following that. So where do we come along at? Where do the Spartans come along at in this? Let's say if art imitates life, where are we at? Because I don't know if they expected us to continue to be going, because directors get fired all the time. Nobody really stands up and say, hey, release this cut, release that cut. But we show up, and now we're not letting it go, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, to now they can't even put out a post without everyone saying release the Snyder Cut. So do you think they expected us to happen, or they're actively still trying to kill us?
I think they...
Say that again?
I think both.
Yeah.
Both. All right. So
yeah, because in comparison to the metaphor of BBS and all this stuff, I want to say that we are the Lois and Wonder Woman in this. We're the ones that show up unexpectedly and make a difference.
Yeah.
Fight for.
Wow. Okay. So
look at it. Wonder Woman is a warrior, independent. She's all about equality. 40 Club is against equality, of course. Toby is against equality, of course. Blah, blah, blah. And then you have Lois Lane, the dedicated reporter to get the truth out. That's exactly what we're doing, too. And everyone underestimates the women in that. And they're underestimating us.
Yeah. What do you think, Will? I like that, Kojay.
That's good. It's like us appearing, dropping out of the sky and deflecting the blast to that awesome soundtrack. Yeah. That's us.
That is us.
That really is. Yeah. And Zach being Batman and the ship crashed.
I like that. Now, tell me this. I heard someone saying, well, I was talking to this guy the other day, and he was saying something like Zach pissed them off when he put too much Christianity type themes in it, from like Superman looking like Jesus, the Holy Trinity, blah, 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 blah. And that kind of rubbed some of the guys the wrong way. What do you think about that?
Get over it.
Sure.
If Zax comes from a what's it called? Science type Christ. Oh, bugger! I've forgotten what it's called. But his family, he was brought up not as a Christian, but it's a very similar one. Does anyone know? It's science.
Yeah, it's something with science, right?
Yeah, it's not Scientology, obviously.
Right.
It's the more traditional one.
Kojay, you're smart, you know.
No, I'm actually stumped. I'm just a Buddhist Christian, so I don't even know where I stand point, so I can't tell anyone else.
Give me a sec. Where's my phone? I'm going to Google it because it's.
All right.
Yeah. But the point being, it's part of Zach's. See, his identity, isn't it? That religious side to things.
Right.
But equally, a lot of religions mirror each other, I think. There's a lot of similarities.
Right.
So, there just is.
Yeah, truth is truth, man.
Yeah, it's the prophet. Everybody's got a hero or some kind of prophet.
Right.
So that's kind of that's this Kal-El figure, isn't it? Most religions talk about, the God giving, the world,
right,
a prophet.
Right.
So why can't that be Superman in every case?
Right.
Give me. I'm trying to talk and Google. Give me a sec. I'll tell you what Zach's past is. Hang on.
Well, while you do that, I'm going to add in the Christianity thing. I think a passionate Christian director like Zach, who doesn't really enforce it, he'll use imagery. That's fine, but that is a perfect fit because Superman was inspired by the Christ tale,
Right.
And that is part of who Superman is. If you ignore any part of any character when you're representing them, you do them an injustice.
Right.
So having little motifs of that is very good. And even Jim Lee is down with that too, because the comic I sent you as a gift
right.
was there's a lot of scenes in there where you will see Jim Lee's art emulate paintings of gods from other Renaissance works. To emulate that sense of epicness, timelessness, the morality, the psychology to it, and the spirit of it. And it's something that's taking, I think, and I believe, the themes derived from faith, putting them in action without forcing people to say, hey, you have to be this faith. It's like, no, it's faith. And without saying people you have to sign up for the faith, it's like, hey, how about some goodness out there?
Right, right.
And then that's just a symbol of where it comes from. It doesn't mean, whatever. I mean, I have a bunch of Muslim friends and even atheist friends who love Superman, and they acknowledge that part because they know who Superman is and where he comes from. That's how you appreciate someone else who's different from you.
Right.
I found it. It's called Christian Science. Christian Science.
Didn't you already say that it was like some Christian Science thing?
I said the other way around, Science Christian. So
okay. Science
So
Christian.
basically, is it Science Christian Science? Basically, they basically look at Christianity, but also include the scientific ideal to it, which is kind of how we are today, I think. But when you look at the character of Superman, don't forget that Kal-El crashed in Kansas, Middle America,
right,
where it's deeply Christian, particularly in the 1930s.
Right.
So that's his bringing up. That was the culture that he was brought up as a human. So and also with the way Zach makes Man of Steel, it was to make it more relatable to us on a human level. So what better way than representing this type of hero or god from another planet was mix it with a well-known religion that humans would understand and see him as some kind of god figure, as opposed to an alien / Caped Crusader superhero wearing tights. It's easier to accept if you look at him like a Jesus character.
Right. Well, I brought that up because I'm kind of wondering. That's not really big in Hollywood, huh? Jesus. Maybe I don't know. I don't. You guys did more Hollywood work than I have. I have done zero actually, but maybe Kojay, you would know. Is the Jesus archetype, is that because remember, Homeboy made Passion of the Christ. He caught hell for that shit too. Mel Gibson. So it's like when someone promotes Jesus or anything like that, do you think they were just gonna catch hell regardless, whether it's Zack Snyder, Mel Gibson, or whoever does it?
I think get anyone because what was it when was it Caitlyn Jenner when Caitlyn Jenner got an award? People were like, "Yeah, you're so brave," and then some other actor on a different awards thing. Actually, thank God, which I'm kind of we're kind of used to. We hear that every now and then. You know, people think, "I thank God," I thank my friend, I thank mom, I thank my pet Vivo, whatever. People can thank whoever they want. But I remember this one individual got booed for thanking God and Jesus, and I thought that was a little uncalled for and left field. But I don't really get much of a moral impression of Hollywood. My impression of Hollywood wasn't really that nice. I didn't like it. I didn't get far enough to get a full-on overview of it. But the mindset of the people was, I feel like morality, which was weird because everyone's trying to make stories of the human condition and what inspires us and whatever. But when you meet these people, there's like, it's like a minority in that circle of people, I must say, or the circles I went into. And I said there's many circles there. So it could be a sign of the times. It could be a sign of, some politics bleeding in, because politics nowadays bleeds everywhere.
Right. So that's my question. Are we just up against something so huge we don't even know what we're doing? Or is it just they didn't like the movie or he didn't make $1 billion? Is it really simple or is it really, really, really big?
It could be a little bit of both. I think it's more simple because I feel like a lot of people got distracted by a bunch of bubblegum and junk food out there and the pretentious hype that surrounds it to validate it. And therefore, when something of substance comes, it's kind of like foreign, but it's familiar at the same time if you're used to all the hoopla, So I think it's just getting caught in the crossfire with ill-willed trends or something. Because the things people attack it so viciously, it just seems so uncalled for, and it seems like a trendy thing to do. It doesn't seem like anything sincere.
Right.
It's definitely a trend. I find with the Hollywood area is that people are more political than religious, and people don't generally care what religion a person is, but people want to be offended for somebody else. So it seems to be trendy to be offended on behalf of somebody. So if somebody says, "I like to thank God," someone in the audience was more than likely to be, "Oh no, you can't say that." Not because it upset them, because they were doing it on it's an offence for someone else, even though there is no victim. And ultimately, if someone says that I want to thank God, they might mean any God. They could be talking about their God. It doesn't matter. God's God, isn't it? Whatever version of God you believe in it. So people make it's fake outrage. It's being outraged on behalf of people, even though there isn't no one to be outraged for.
Right.
And it is a trend. It's to be seen as, look at me, aren't I so progressive, and aren't I very, very inclusive and forward and all that stuff? And there's just no need for. If someone's offended by something, then stand up for them. But there seems to be in that kind of society now that there's you've just got, so everyone's looking to be offended for somebody else so that they can take the moral high ground and say, "I stood up for them," but there was no one to stand up for.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right.
So I think politics is more in movies. So I think when it came to Man of Steel, a lot of people were still hung on to the old Watchmen, thing, the big allegations against women and all that rubbish like that. But whereas Zack just literally made a comic book film, people like to twist old narratives and things, and they have to be the first person to have something bad to say about something else to stir up something to talk about. And I think that's how the 40 Club exists as well. It's almost like it's the new culture. It's the shock and outrage culture, isn't it, of having to be the person to be seen,
right,
to complain. And I think when it comes to Man of Steel, you've got the older generation who won't see anything other than Christopher Reeve Superman. I mean, I grew up Christopher Reeve Superman. He was my absolute hero. And I watched those films on for almost my whole life. However, I was able to accept that that's that era, and now there's this era, so I can still like both. But there were some people. So you had the people with looking at Man of Steel from that perspective. You have the people who already had a negative opinion of Zack anyway, and then you've got the people who, if anyone does mention anything about it being too Jesus-like,
right,
well, they're reading into things that aren't there. Zack, if you look at Zack's background with his Christian Science background, that's the perfect background to have when you're trying to portray a godlike alien being on Earth, isn't it? Because it literally is Christianity mixed with science, isn't it?
Right.
You've got a science, higher technology race sending the last and only son, who are all powerful. It is, it has to be. There is no way around it. And he lands in Kansas, where it's deeply Christian. So that's just a part of that story. Had Kal-El landed in a farm, say in Afghanistan or somewhere like that, he would have been brought up in a different way. A bit like the Russian version of Superman. If he had,
like Red Sun, or even Bruce Timm's Gods and Monsters, where he landed in Mexico.
Yeah, it is what it is. So there are people. If anyone complains, "Oh, it's too Christian," well, fucking get over it.
Right.
Because it is what it is.
Right.
No one's offended. Do you know if anyone is genuinely offended at that?
No, I'm really just trying to figure out what we're really up against, because it seems like it's a new argument every day, whether it's it's always something, no matter what. The fans talk shit, then the people in the industry talk shit, the blue checks people talk shit. So what are we really up against,
We're up against ignorance, in my opinion, man. Sorry to cut you off.
No worries, mate. Carry on.
Because I'm thinking, exactly what you said. They keep coming at different reasons, different things that they don't like, and it always changes. And I'm feeling, because you talk to someone who really loves these films, they're consistent, and sometimes they even say something new. But people who are, I'm talking about the haters. There are people who have legitimate things that they don't like. That's fair. That's that's how it goes. It's all preference.
Right.
But a lot of people are just, it's leaving my head. I feel like they are too wishy-washy, which is why their complaints keep on changing, because they really don't have any solid ground. It's a temporary, fleeting, I don't like Man of Steel because Christopher Reeves is my Superman. Well, if you pay attention, if you read the comics, there's different comic titles. You got Action Comics, you got Superman, Superman Unchained, Superman, Batman the Superman, All-Star Superman. You got these different takes on Superman that coexist at the same time. And if you read comic books, you get used to that. And you're familiar with that. Okay, there's Elseworlds, there's an interpretation. Okay, this isn't canon, but that's a beautiful story. And I really got a sense of Superman here. Oh, here's an interesting take of a what if he was in Russia. Not accepting an addition to the mythos, which Russell Crowe said on the making of Man of Steel. He said, this is not to replace any previous Superman stories. It's to add to it, to fill in the gaps of what's missing.
Right.
And well, he didn't say that part. That's why I said. But then I feel people are insecurely petty, and it's unfair.
Wow.
And it goes to what I was saying, is that the reason they're inconsistent is because they jumped on a bandwagon at the time to sound trendy, to have something to moan about. And the reality is they didn't really care.
I'm still here.
Oh, I was drinking water.
No, I thought.
So what Kojay's saying is correct, but I think it goes back to the like I said, the way people are these something to complain about, and it's people's like they want to moan about something, and they look around the room to see who's impressed that they moaned about something, or that they complained because it's trendy. So when these people are wishy-washy, it's because they can't remember why they complained in the first place, because they didn't mean it. And that's I think they just throw out random things, and you say to them, like the whole Batman killing. Batman doesn't kill. Well, he does actually. He's done it in this film. He never said anything. Oh well, I just don't like it.
Right.
And Superman should wear pants. They change the subject because they don't believe in the complaints that they're saying.
Right. That's my point. It's something every week.
Just the generation of today.
Right. Okay. So
sometimes thinking processes are trends too,
Right.
And that's incorrect, and that's kind of limiting on your own mental growth because what makes us better, and even cognitively for our nervous systems, is challenging and testing ourselves. And what better way to challenge than to open up our minds and expand our world, like add to it, not just keep everything in tight little circle, and anything outside of it, fuck it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So
it's like, shit, you're gonna get dementia later.
It's called maturing, isn't it?
I know, right?
What I was leading to, because like last night watching that thing, like maybe some of us thought we was gonna get the Snyder Cut announcement, some of us thought we wasn't gonna get the Snyder Cut announcement, blah blah blah. But it seems like they totally disregarded Zack Snyder 100%. So it's like, the other day Zack Snyder told Abdul, just keep doing what we're doing, blah blah blah. But then you see these guys like, they did this big fucking announcement of bullshit. They had J.J. Abrams out. They had Ann Sarnoff, all this other bullshit, and they only talked about numbers. They really, really didn't talk about anything important. So here's what I'm getting at. Are we fighting this huge uphill battle versus a huge Goliath, or are we almost there? Do you think we're winning or what?
I think we've got to listen to Zach.
Right.
He would know, wouldn't he, if things are happening or if what we're doing helps. And he said, "You're doing it." What we're doing is obviously happening.
And that means it's not an uphill battle. If anything, it's a flat land, and there's just a lot of zombies around, but we're doing good. Because guess what? We don't run out of ammo.
Right. Right.
We've got nothing to lose. They have.
Right.
Hey, guys, I'm sorry. I really want to see my kid right now. But so I'm going to bounce out. I'll bow out. Nope. It's good to talk to you, Will. Thank you so much, Peely. Love you guys. Shout out to everybody. But yeah, I'll check out the rest of the show in a bit.
No problem. No problem. All right.
Yeah, I just got a lot of stuff to do. We're going on location tomorrow. So yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, thank you. Releasethesnydercut. I love you all.
See you, Kojay.
Yeah, and stay away from dodgy sites. Don't do it.
We should be telling you.
For Kojay.
All right, bye guys. Releasethesnyder.
All right, see you. All right, Will.
Yeah.
All right, you're still there.
Yeah.
All right, man. So let's wrap it up. What else you got to say? Because we are probably like, let's see where we're at. We're about an hour and 15 minutes right now.
Yeah. I think, just finishing what we were saying, the whole thing last night was, like you said at the beginning, they were never going to say anything. I think even if they acknowledged the letters, or Ann Sarnoff not acknowledged the letter campaign, because everyone sent those letters, and we don't even know what she thought of it, if anything at all. So but then you have to also think she didn't even mention them because they were there to promote their channel,
Right.
their streaming service. So I think we all got our hopes up because it was the first official anything from Warner Brothers for a very long time.
Right.
You know, and with all the talk of the Snyder Cut and how it could possibly be released, one of the options was perhaps they'll stream it. But maybe they will add it to the HBO Max. But maybe announcing that on day one would have overshadowed everything.
Right. Correct.
So I think I wouldn't say we're losing or winning, but I think we're definitely we got nothing to lose. We just continue doing what we're doing. Everybody that's hoping for it and keeping the hype and keeping it talking about it. As long as we keep talking about it, it won't go away. And equally, you know, we need to keep talking about it and keep doing it because obviously as well, obviously that's a massive factor in the whole scenario of what occurred.
Right.
Because, you know, it's a story of the corporate greed and you know, films by committee.
Right.
But that's bad enough. But they did it at a time when a director had a tragedy and they took advantage of it. And it was the ultimate show of greed and you know, the green-eyed monster for the jealousy and the money and look at just everything to be copy Marvel.
Right.
Regardless of morals. So it's such a big thing and so many of the executives have gone sideways or left and, you know, they've cleaned house a bit and they've obviously internally discussed what happened and trying to reset and recourse, but they never acknowledge it.
Right.
So I don't think we're at the battles that there'll have to come a point where they will have to acknowledge it, I think.
Right.
Because if we don't go away and we keep on and on and on, it will be the bane of their lives for a very long time.
Yep.
And it will be. And things like the Joker being so successful and they didn't trust the director and they're not getting all the profit.
Right.
And yet things that they did go for haven't been done so well. You know, it's there has to come a point where they're going to have to do something to shut us up, because the longer we talk about it, the more it's on record, the more time it's read and written about, that the more people are going to have time to, even if you're not interested, you keep hearing about something, you're going to go, what is this all about? And you're going to read it, and you're going to look into it. The audience will only get bigger. And whether or not people want or interested in Snyder Cut, I think people would be interested in the circumstances of what happened morally, you know, in regards to especially with suicide and mental health. So I think with that in mind, it's they need to address it at some point.
Right.
And I think they will, but they're trying to get their house in order first. Right. I think they're getting rid of the deadwood. They're trying to what's the word? I'm having a bad day with words. They're trying to clean house, but they're trying to damage limitation on and
damage control
on the decisions that were made, and reorganize. As in, you know, all these people have gone. Jeff Johns is no longer in that position anymore, and things like that. And you know, yeah, Toby Emmerich's there, but I don't know. He might be on a much shorter leash now,
right?
And maybe he's passed the buck on, and he was the middleman. You know, and perhaps he said to Ansarov, "Look, those people did all these things, and I and Kevin Tsujihara went along with it, so I was in the middle." You don't know, do you? He could have worked it that way, you know. But there you go. So they're still a business. Don't forget, comic book films is not their only thing.
Right.
So they bigger picture for them. Yeah. But public relations wise, the longer we go, the worse it looks for them.
Right.
And they've got to address it. They've got to address it in some way. And I think that's why Zach said, you're doing it. Because what we are doing is keeping it focused. So we have to listen to Zach. That's the only thing we can do.
Right.
And that's why if Zach says something, we got to take it for what it is and not listen to these unanimous bloggers or this unanimous source. Do you know what I mean? It's just bullshit. Like do you see? I revealed my source in my video.
In the dog.
Dog. I mean, it may as well be my dog,
right?
Isn't it?
Right. Tell me this. What do you think about Jason Momoa's video the other night?
Well, that word that you put on the screen, man, I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe that's another one of his cultural words that means something.
Right.
Because I think he refers to his family as something as well, doesn't he? And The Rock does the same.
Right.
So I don't know the language or the culture very well, so I just assume when he says things like that, it means something positive, because of the way he says it.
Right.
So, but he did delete the video.
Right.
Where he said he's seen the Snyder Cut and it's sick.
Right.
So, and he did say he had to delete a video. So 2 and 2 together, you say, well, it has to be about the Snyder Cut.
Right.
But then people are saying that manas, whatever the word was, is something that he's part of, and maybe there's information about that. Another video. Has he deleted more than one video?
I don't know. I just remember the one with the Snyder Cut.
Maybe it's both. Maybe he's talking about the video because if he's had to delete the video because he wasn't allowed to talk about it, then he's certainly not allowed to tell us that he wasn't allowed to talk about it.
Right.
So perhaps that's his way of saying, "Oh, there's something coming. I wasn't allowed to say it, so I deleted the video," but then finished the video off with his different project as a cover, but been able to tell us that he deleted it and he shouldn't have done it. Do you know what I mean? Like a diversion. I don't know. I mean,
right.
And without knowing if he's deleted more than one video, it's really hard to say. But it's very. I don't know. I don't think he's very for the Snyder Cut, isn't he? So
yeah.
I don't think he knows like Zach. He knows what he says can be taken certain ways.
Right.
And he knows people pay attention to when he says things about it. So, yeah, that's the only video I'm aware of that he's deleted.
Right. I think he was definitely talking about the Snyder Cut. I think because what he was saying, like, it's coming, get ready. It's going to be bigger than Saturday Night Live news, blah, blah, blah. That's only could be the Snyder Cut, I mean, what else could he be?
What is that thing that people are saying it is? What is that word? Is it Manala or Manalu? I don't know. It came up on the screen, didn't it?
Right. I couldn't understand it, so I don't know.
Because I think it's like, is he Hawaiian?
Yeah, Samoan, right.
Samoan, yeah. So it's that kind of area. So they do have, they when they talk, they speak in English, but they throw in the odd word.
Right.
And it means something to do with family and mother and father and brother, doesn't it? So I weren't sure when I saw that video what the word meant. I just assumed, based on what he was saying, it had to be Snyder Cut related.
Right.
But other people have said that word is related to something he's doing for his activism.
Right. Okay, but is the activism gonna be bigger than Saturday Night Live?
Doubt it. But yeah, that's what I mean. So that's why I'm thinking maybe he said this about the Snyder Cut, but he's had to put in this bit of plug for his activism at the end.
Right.
So he can say, no, I wasn't talking about that. I don't know. It's a very tinfoil moment, isn't it? But it certainly seemed Snyder Cut, didn't it?
Right, it did. Definitely.
Very much so.
So you excited? You think it's coming soon and we just forget HBO Max and just wait for maybe Zach to say something?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, I don't know. I want it to come soon, obviously, but I think. I mean, if they said to me it's going to be released, where would you want it? I would want it in the cinema.
Definitely.
Well, a proper release. So if it's coming and it's not on HBO Max, that means we're more likely to get it in the cinema.
Right.
Worse DVD. But if it goes DVD, it'll go on HBO Max as well.
Right.
Won't it? because everything's on DVD will end up on streaming service anyway. So I don't know.
If it goes in the cinema, it'll make $1 billion.
Oh, I think so. And even if it makes this, I think I said this to you before. You know, let's say the mythical 40 million is true, getting it released into a cinema and paying people wages and all that crap that people talked about. Let's say it does cost it. It's going to make at least 600 million again,
right?
Because that everyone that saw Justice League the first time will go and see it again,
right?
They'll be interested, intrigued, and even though they don't like it, people will go and see it just so they can compare.
Correct.
So that itself would be 1.2 billion, wouldn't it?
Right. Correct.
So it's going to do it. It's going to double up, you know, and people will go, yeah, but it didn't make $1 billion because it's a different version and all that stuff. But look at Endgame. They put out a different version, didn't they, in the cinema to get it over the line. I don't care about box office. Only businesses do, don't they? But it will be a success. It will be. It will make the money. You know, it will certainly make. If they cost them 40 million to put it in the cinema, they'll get that back twice, minimum.
Right. Definitely.
It's a flop. So I think it all boils down again to the public relations and the ego and appearance of the studio and how they announce the future and course correct, because that's what they're not doing. They're not announcing this. Everything's in limbo. They could easily completely destroy us by announcing a plan.
Right.
And that not including Snyder Cut. Couldn't they? They could give out a 5-year plan of their movie windows, you know, like they used to.
Right. I mean,
and if that's not, that it would kill it. It would really put a dent in things, wouldn't it?
But nothing would matter if they don't say Snyder Cut. Like, you know, I don't think any movie they can put out right now will matter unless it's the Snyder Cut.
No, the only way they can move on is to release it.
Right. Right.
Because then people will go, okay, I've got what I wanted. I'm not interested in the rest. And then they'll create a whole new fan base of people that are interested in the different type of films they bring out. And don't get me wrong, let's face it. I went and saw Shazam. I went and saw Aquaman. I'm going to go and see Wonder Woman. I'll probably go and see Birds of Prey just because I'm intrigued to see what it is.
Right.
And because I like going to the cinema. So I go and watch all sorts of things.
Right.
So I'll still go anyway. But will I buy it on DVD? Will I watch it multiple times? That's the difference, isn't it? That's when you are supporting it. That's when you really like something.
Right. Right. I definitely want
multiple viewings and multiple purchases.
Correct. They'll get that with the Snyder Cut, but I don't think they'll get that. Maybe they'll do that with Wonder Woman. I liked Aquaman, but I didn't really get the DVD. I'm definitely not going to get Shazam DVD. I think that...
Well, I did. I bought the DVDs because, as far as I'm concerned, they're still part linked to the Snyderverse.
Right.
Because Jason Momoa was cast by Zack.
Right, definitely.
And Aquaman would have followed the Snyder Cut in terms of story. Snyder Cut being released wouldn't change Aquaman's continuity.
Right.
Snyder Cut being released would not change Shazam's continuity, because in Shazam you can see there was pictures of the world engine.
Yep.
There was all the bits and bobs from previous films. Even the logos on the boys' T-shirts were the exact same logos, designs as DCEU, Snyderverse. Right. So they're all connected in some way. Even Wonder Woman 4, set in the 90s or whatever, or 80s, that's not going to affect the future movies unless she specifically comes up with some weird... unless the story completely contradicts what happened in BVS for her.
Right.
One thing I will say, though, I really, 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 really hope in the next Wonder Woman film, they cover how she got her sword back.
What do you mean?
Well, it was one of the... If you remember in Wonder Woman, when she had her little history lesson as a child, and she was taken to the room where Zeus had given gifts.
Right.
One being the lasso, the sword, the god killer, which is obviously turns out to be the girl, and obviously the costume was in there. So the lasso is clearly a one of the gifts from Zeus.
Right.
The shield is a gift from Zeus, as was the sword.
Right.
And she the other gift that was to use all those things.
Right.
But at the end of Wonder Woman, when she came across Ares and she went to stab him with a sword, it kind of melted into his palm.
Oh, right. And she
had a
had
sword
it in BVS.
Did she?
Right.
Yet in BVS she had a sword.
Correct.
And when she hit Doomsday with it, it kind of glowed. And in the Justice League, when Superman threw the head of the statue at her, she swiped it with the sword, and the sword glowed like magical and cut the boulder in half. So that sword has power. It's not just a random sword she's got. So it has to be the sword linked to what was given by Zeus. So there has to be an idea of how she got the sword back.
Right.
Do you see? That's my only bugbear.
Right.
Because Wonder Woman was linked so much with BVS and so much with Zack's work. You know, he was even on it, wasn't he? So when they destroyed that sword, then she appeared with it years later in BVS with a sword.
It's a magic fucking sword. It just showed up.
Yeah. No, do you see what I'm saying? Did it grow back? I mean, I don't know. But that's the thing that I'm more interested about. And that's really petty, doesn't it?
Yes.
But that'll be an indication, I think, of the future.
Right. You're smart, man.
Do you not think?
No, I do. I never even thought about it like that. But I see exactly what you're saying. It'll be an indication of what's going to happen. But, you know, I actually thought when they moved her movie back to the original date, I thought that was an indication of the Snyder Cut being squeezed in, you know?
Maybe it will be. We don't know still, do we? That's the thing. But, I mean, going back to what we were saying just now, I've bought the DVDs for the collection in the hope that they all still link.
Right.
And hope that they all revert back, and even if Zack has no more to do with it, that they'll continue, because, like I say, Zack also cast Gal.
Yep.
She's Wonder Woman.
Yep.
And if there's a Flash movie, Zack casted Ezra.
Yep.
So it's inevitably linked to the Snyderverse.
Yep.
So, and I bought the box set, the DVD steelbooks, ones, because I like the covers and I like the way they are. And I've got the collection, so I've had to buy Shazam and I've had to buy Aquaman to make sure I've got the collection, even if it's one I don't particularly like, you know. But no, so yeah, I'm a sucker for it. I'm going to buy their stuff, and they know it. They know it, don't they? People like us keep buying it. But if Wonder Woman 84 completely changes it and makes the continuity into BVS non-existent, that's when I'm out of it.
Right. Wow.
That's when I'm just completely, because that's just it's a rewriting of history by using the same actress.
Right.
And trying to make people think it's the same thing.
Wow. Don't go, Will. What we're gonna do without you, Bill?
No, I mean out of the DC films in the future.
Right.
I'm still not a Snyder Cut, no.
Yeah. I mean, I hope they do it. I mean, it just makes too much fucking sense. The only reason they don't do it if they have like some fucking bone to pick with Zack Snyder, and then that will be original. I mean, eventually we'll get down to the bottom of that shit, but whatever, you know.
Yeah. I mean, they don't need to have a universe where they're all linked and they're building up to something, but they all shouldn't contradict each other.
Right.
If you're using the same actors,
right,
and it's all loosely connected but in the same universe, they should have a continuity. They don't necessarily have to follow the same. Like, they don't have to be where they all eventually have to get together, like the Avengers.
Right.
They can do their own individual tales.
Right.
You know, what was so and so doing during Superman's film? Well, they were doing this. You know, and it's their perspective, yet within the same existence. You know.
Right.
Because if they're the same actors, then the audience are going to assume it's all part of the same thing.
Right. Right.
So that's what I mean. if it changes, if they completely, whatever happens in the next Wonder Woman, if that completely means that she could not have possibly been in BVS, then you know, absolutely they rebooted it.
That'll fucking suck, dog.
It'd be all annoying, wouldn't it? Because I thought Wonder Woman was a really good film.
Yeah, that will fucking suck.
Oh, one more thing about Wonder Woman that bugged me, not as much as the sword, it's the very last scene when she jumps off the building and presumably flew.
Right.
It cut the camera cut out, and I thought, has she just jumped off a building and she's now going to land on the floor, or is she flying?
Right.
And can she fly? Because in BVS she left the airplane, and then all you see is a drop out of the sky.
Right.
So does she fly? Because she didn't fly in Justice League.
Right. She kind of flew when she was fighting Doomsday. Remember when she cut his leg? She just jumped like.
Maybe she leaps. maybe it's the early Superman when he didn't fly and he just leaped tall buildings.
Right.
Maybe she's pre-flight. I don't know.
But yeah, Wonder Woman can fly, can't she? I've seen her fly before.
I don't know.
Yo,
can she fly like Superman, like laying down flat and arms out?
I don't know. Here's what's funny though. I think I saw her fly before, but she also has a jet.
Yeah. Oh, mate, can you imagine if they do that in the film?
I like to see that shit. The invisible jet.
But it would only be good if she's invisible.
Right.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Not like the cartoon where it's just like a out dotted line, you know?
Yeah, and you see her. What's the point of it being invisible if you can see her? And it's like toys. When you see marketing for toys, it's like I saw one where Superman had a car.
Right.
Why? And the Flash had a motorbike. I got a toy for the Flash rode a motorbike. Why? He would rather walk. He'd walk faster. You know.
It's
Stupid toys.
Merchandising. Yeah, you're right. Why does Superman have a car? That is funny.
Spider-Man had a car as well, one of the toys I saw. My little boy had the Spider-Man car once, and Spider-Man sat in it and drove around, and I thought, he just swings from building to building.
Yo, that reminds me. My middle son, one time we had a birthday party, and there was, like, the little toy cars that, they can get in and drive around, whatever. But there was a Batmobile, and it was, like, right after the Bane Dark Knight Rises. So there's a Batmobile that was like $250 or something. Mm-hmm. But then there was a black Ferrari that was like $150. So we bought the black Ferrari and just put Batman stickers on it.
Did you know?
No, he didn't know shit. He just got in and drove. It was so funny.
But I bet you Bruce Wayne has a black Ferrari anyway, so it's kind of his.
It was hilarious. We was like,
wasn't there the guy who used to go and cosplay, the rich guy? He used to drive a black Ferrari. Yeah, as Batman and go to hospitals. He's passed away now, isn't he? But he died in a car crash. But he used to do that, and the black Ferrari would look a bit like Bruce a Batmobile. So
you're right.
But no, that's you thought outside the box there, didn't you?
We saved $100, bro.
You did, and he was happy. And the good thing is he could take the sticker off and be Bruce Wayne. It doubled up, didn't it?
See, now you're really thinking, bro. That's how we do it.
See? That's how you do it. You got to think of, when he's not being Batman, he can just be Bruce.
That's what we did. It was hilarious.
It's just funny. You just laugh at these toys that they come out with for things.
Right.
And I often, before Toys R Us, have you had Toys R Us in your country?
Yeah.
They're shut down over here. They kind of went out of business. And I used to love going to Toys R Us. I'm like the most childish adult in the world. And I used to walk around, not just randomly like some strange person, but like coming up to Christmas when you're looking for like presents for your kids and that. I used to forget that I was there for presents and start looking at what I would wanted to have bought as a child. And then from an adult's perspective, laugh at the quality of the toys. And that's when you notice things like, the Incredible Hulk has a car, or and you think to yourself, God, children just, it's really insulting to children's intelligence, isn't it?
That is
You
funny.
think, kid, and I got a Superman in a car, I'd throw the car in a bin. Superman flies.
I never. You got too much time on your hands, bro. You're thinking too deep,
I have,
bro.
mate. I have, yes. But nah,
Oh my god.
you got to have an imagination.
Yeah, it is pretty. It's pretty deep, bro. I never thought
In,
about
in,
that.
in my point of view, it's 2:00 in the morning, so I'm going deliriously.
Yeah, well, it's all right. It's all right. So give some shout outs. We're gonna wrap it up. I'll probably edit this shit tomorrow, but
Okay. Oh, shout out! Well, shout out for you again for having me on.
Yeah, no
and
problem.
shout out to everyone who was commented today. I've had lots of comments on that video today. Of people like saying thanks and things, and I did a couple of videos in the week as well, didn't I, about mental health and stuff.
Yep.
So that was nice for people. So shout out to everybody there. Got a few Zach likes as well on that as well, which was nice. So I suppose just shout out to everybody who's positive, everybody who keeps fighting for it, because so many people do. It's not just us.
Right.
So and a fuck you shout out to all the haters. Because it doesn't, because they're only making themselves look silly, I think.
Right.
But no, shout out to you. Just shout out tonight. It's got to be for Jeff, because I think Jeff's having a bad time at the moment.
Yeah.
We love you, Jeff Purdy.
Definitely.
Especially your weird ways that only we know we're on about. Bless him. But if Jeff needs any help, wants to chat, give me a call.
Yep, definitely. I'll probably reach out to him tomorrow too. I mean,
yeah,
I should have did it today, but I'll reach out to Jeff tomorrow. He's a real cool dude.
Well, I commented, "Are you okay?" and he didn't reply. So maybe he's not been online since. But obviously, he's had his down times, didn't he? So,
yeah.
But yeah, if Jeff, you're listening, we're thinking of you, mate, and we hope you're okay.
Definitely.
All right, mate. I'm going to go to bed.
All right.
So thanks for having me on. Been great chatting to you. Great chatting to Kojay. It's always a good laugh having a chat, even though we moan about serious things.
Correct. Shout out to Kojay for coming on for that little while too.
Yeah, bless him.
Yeah.
I know.
All right, bro.
All right, mate. Take care. Speak soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.